Hey everyone, it's Jen with ChappyPlans. Thanks for joining me for this Norah album video. This is part 5, so if you'd like to see what I'm going to do, stick around. Hey friends, it's Jen with ChappyPlans. I just want to preface this video by saying I apologize in advance because I have laryngitis still, feeling so much better from having pneumonia, but I do sound kind of mannish and squeaky, and so I'm sorry about that. But I'm going to do my best to do a voiceover, and there may be parts where I just have to put music on, which I know is not everyone's preferred method, but to preserve my voice, I'm going to probably have to do that. I also really wanted to get this video edited because I had so much footage in real time on my phone and on my iPad. So I hope you'll bear with me as I edit and voiceover and do all the things to make this video get out there when I want it. All right, so I'm going to fast forward the camera now and kind of narrate what's happening. And if this is your first video in the series, definitely go back and check the Try It Tuesday playlist. I've filmed 4 other parts of completing the Storyline Chapters album for 2020, and I'm so excited to say I was able to fit the whole year in this album, or insert, if you will. And right now, I am moving on to transitioning from summer to fall, and this large photo is Norah giving a thumbs up with the sign that says Norah's first day of homeschool, because we had decided to homeschool her, and that was a decision we made even before we went into a pandemic. And so we were pretty ready-ish. I don't think anything can fully prepare you for being a homeschooling mama, but at the same time, we had just gone through being completely shut down, and things were starting to open back up as far as being safe and social distancing. But it was just a lot. And so, spoiler alert, we ended up sending Norah to public school in April of 2021. So homeschool does not last even a year. That's a story for another day. For this story, I'm using some really old paper I had from Chamel, and I thought it was perfect because all these photos are outside and kind of representative of our homeschool vibe, which was very much play-based, hands-on based, science experiments, all that kind of stuff. So this picture was taken on September 8th, and I picked these 3 tags I had in my stash from Ali Edwards. And another thing in this album I'm doing is using all of my stash, all old items. Nothing I've purchased is brand new. I've had it for years, and I'm so excited to use what I've got. So on this tag, Becoming, I wrote, "Sweetest Norah, you are so excited to be my first and only student as we embark on our new homeschool adventures. We're both going into this blindly, hopeful and naive. You're becoming so curious about hows and whys. It's fun to grow with you. We get to do this life together." And then on the right side, I'm just going to, the 2 photos of Norah outside are actually from my husband taking her for a hike, and then just a day, an afternoon at the park. And so on the growing card, I wrote, "We love the long sunny days and weather. We take as many opportunities to play outside as possible. You're quite content to explore, swing, climb, hide, and engage in pretend play. You love a day at the park." And on the wishing tag banner, I wrote, "Today you went on a hike with Daddy. It's already a bit challenging being one-on-one 24/7, so you two could use the solo time. We are doing the best we can given the state of the country in these pandemic times." And then all I did off camera was fussy cut the florals and the butterflies and ladybugs from the rest of that pattern paper, and decided to kind of, see how it looked on the right and just played around with placement. There was no real rhyme or reason to it. It was more just did I like where the flowers were in, comparison to the rectangular shapes of the photos and the banners, which if you noticed, I used my hole punch to create a little tag effect so that I could add in the red baker's twine. And that was really just for an extra pop of red and extra texture. I do find the Storyline Chapters albums a little challenging because they are bound, and so I kind of feel like I'm running a little bit out of ideas, and you'll see as I move on to the next story, the next spread, it kind of looks a mess. And that's because at this point, well, one, I had pneumonia. So I wasn't feeling the greatest. But two, I just felt like, I don't know, I wanted to get these stories told, and I didn't want to bend over backwards to like come up with the most inventive, creative scrapbook layout ever. So a lot of my formula gets repeated, and I think that's okay. I think for me, it was really about going back and trying to get these stories told more than anything, and the photos, capturing those as well as the memories in the journaling. So I'm also using the Studio Calico labels in the red color there to put the dates above each of the photos. Other than that, I'm just going to play some music while you guys watch me fiddle around and audition, and be like super nitpicky about where I put these fussy cut pieces. Okay, so the last thing I'm doing is using these really old thickers. They're chipboard and they're so old they've lost their stick. So I'm just going to reinforce them with some double-sided tape and then put those hearts in random places. Just, again, for an extra added element of texture, I've got like the paper, I've got the chipboard, and then I've got the twine. So there's a few different elements of texture on the page and tons of color, obviously. So once I get those down, I do my journaling off camera, and that will wrap up this first spread here. And I'm going to show you what everything looks like in real time. Also, I apologize if you hear background noise. My kitten and my other cat play quite a bit, and so there's lots of background noise when I do my voiceovers. Let me know if it's like a big issue. All right, moving on to the second spread. This one is not my favorite, but that's okay. I was inspired by the soft colors in each of the photos, and so I went with the Reaching Out collection again by Jen Hadfield. I had this big 12 by 12 rainbow paper, and I thought that was perfect to pull out the pops of pink in the photos. So they're just random pictures from around the house and around like our neighborhood during this fall. And they were just some favorite photos I have of Norah. So I have this big one of her smiling at me on the couch. She had just woken up from a nap. I can remember, I just remember that. I don't know. And it was the cutest picture, so I needed to include that one, and her hair just looks so auburn to me, and I don't know, I love it. And then there's the selfie of us with her laying on me, and there's the one of her in her room with you can't tell, but it's a unicorn crown thing that she's wearing because of her JoJo bow. You can't see it, but it was one of the crowns that we had made for her birthday. And then her in the bathtub with like a million bubbles. And then just outside on a walk. She looks so cool in her little puffer coat with her aviators on. I just can't even stand it. So because these are all just about being around the house, there's no real journaling at all, actually. I don't know if I did any. Oh, I did a little bit. But I went with like the home theme. So I backed all the photos first with that rainbow paper, and I scattered them around the page, and then I filled in the spaces by trying to create little house clusters, which I don't think really translated onto the paper as it was like kind of forming in my head, but that's okay. Not every spread is going to be my favorite. I'm just glad to have these things documented. So, I kind of go between using the 6x12 stickers and the sticker book and the die cuts and the foam thickers. And off camera, I think it doesn't even get filmed in this video. You'll have to wait till the final flip through. I did add a little puffy heart on each of the photos, just for my stash, some little blue hearts I had from Paper Person Shop. So what I ended up doing was taking these Ledger label stickers from Studio Calico in blue and pink and just cut them in half because they were thick, and wrote the date on each of the photos, and then added a little word phrase sticker under each one. of the dates so that it had like a formula. So each picture got the label with the date, a little word phrase sticker, and then at some point each photo has like a puffy heart and or like some sort of die cut. So the journaling that I did is on, I just hid it, tucked it behind the photo of Nora and I. It's on a Right Now little tiny like 2x3 pocket card, journaling card. That's from Ellie Edwards. I think might be from the Now Story Kit. I don't even know. But it was tiny enough, and there wasn't a lot of journaling. I knew I wasn't going to have a lot, so all I did was write a few sentences on it. And I wrote snapshots of life around our home. You're currently obsessed with dress up and pretend play. You're quite a girly girl. You love your vanity, play makeup, and long bubble baths. And that's it. That's all I did for the journaling, and tuck it behind the picture of Nora and I. And then the rest of it is just me kind of playing around with the space, the white space there that's left, the 3 white space areas that's left from where the photos are not, and then figuring out how I want to put down each of the decorative elements. Again, I'm going to put some music on while you watch me putz around with the placement of all these little stickers. I picked them up and put them down about 50 different times. And I lied about the puffy stickers. Those do make it in the video, so you will get to see me put those on. All right, so here it is all finished in real time. The clusters did not quite turn out the way I wanted, but that's okay. Moving on to the next spread. So this spread is from different photos of being outside for homeschooling things. We developed something called, what we called ourselves the Pod Squad, and it was just a group of families, really it was moms and their kiddos, who committed to isolating together and doing life together once a week or so, or just like based on our scheduling, what worked for us all, to get together and do a field trip, if you will, and kind of take turns teaching lessons. So of course I organized all of that. Being the teacher, I couldn't help it. But so these photos are really fun and bright and colorful, and so I wanted to reflect that as well with the elements I chose. So I have this pattern paper, the polka dot paper, which is from the Sweet Rush collection from Vicki Boutin. And then I actually used elements from Vicki Boutin, but not the same collection. It was from, oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called. But it's an older collection, but the colors all work together. Really, I just wanted to use that bright pink pattern paper with the orange and white polka dots because of all the pink that are in the photos. And so I'm going to do what I've been doing, my formula there, just mounting the photos on the pattern paper first. And once I get that all trimmed out, I just fussy cut it. I didn't measure it at all. I play around with the placement of the photos, and then I can get to the fun part, which is using the embellishments. Again, I'm not doing a lot of journaling. I just wanted to make sure I had dates, and that's important to me. And then other than that, it's really just about the photos. So I pulled a bunch of die cuts from my pack and these vellum pieces, which I loved. Like, I loved the bright blue Life is Good with the gold foil on it. So I pulled that one, and then I thought the circles were a nice, like, sort of, what's the word, like balance, I guess, against the straight lines of all of the photos and the pattern paper, all the rectangular shapes that I had. So I liked kind of adding that contrast of the circular movement versus like the linear. Hopefully that makes sense, just from like kind of an art standpoint. So I use my really thin double-sided tape to adhere the vellum pieces to the paper because for whatever reason, I feel like it works and you don't see it too much. And then once I get everything where I want it, like the photos and then the 3 big vellum circle pieces, I kind of build off of that, right? So I have those bigger die cut pieces down, and off of that, I'm going to add in some circles. So I go to my little like sticker pack and I pull out like these watercolor circle like elements, if you will. Like one's pink and orange, one's blue and green, and one's orange and yellow, and it looks like a watercolor. Like you put a cup down and you lifted up the cup, and that what was left is the ring of watercolor. So I layered that, and then I also layered a third circle using the 6x12 sticker sheet with it's not really gold foiling. I guess it's more of like a copper color. So there's 3 circles in each cluster. And then I'm also going to sprinkle in the hearts, like the watercolor hearts. You can see I'm going through the sticker pack now. And then also I'm going to add 2 of the tab die cuts so I can write the dates. And then bring in some of the word phrase strips. So one is going to go under each one of the photos. And I think the last touch is the little teeny tiny coppery gold foiled dots. Those are just sprinkled around for added color. I definitely could have added another element for texture, but I think this is the day I did all 3 of these layouts together and I was feeling kind of spent. The other thing I did do that I haven't mentioned yet is you can see at the top of the screen, the like circular banners. I love those. I just put one on each side of the page for consistency. So I think it fit nicely over the top in that negative space above Nora with her hand up in the air. All the kids were saying Pod Squad. So they're all like, their mouths are open and Nora's got her hand in the air because she's like, Pod Squad. And then, so I put the banner over that photo and then the other banner over the picture of Nora standing in the apple orchard. So I will read you the journaling, which I just did right on the paper in the white space because it worked. So I added some lines that are very crooked, and that's okay, and just wrote with my gel pen, "We were so blessed to have found what we called Pod Squad. We gathered at least weekly for homeschool lessons and a sort of related field trip. Our first real trip was apple picking at Bowman's. The second was the same, but at Windy Hill. Here, you all ran through a corn maze and watched honeybees." And then I took some puffy alphas that are from like, I don't even know, American Crafts, one of their collections, because I felt like black made sense. There was so much color on the page. So I just added pod on the left and squad on the right. And that's really it. Like, I struggled because there's a bunch of white space on the left side of the spread, but I decided to leave it as is. The word phrase stickers I chose say, "A perfect day. It's all in how you look at things. You're a rainbow with a soul full of color." And the last one says, "Enjoying this moment." And yeah, it was just so great. It was wonderful to have these families to just do life with during the pandemic, and also who were, trying to be safe. And you can see, the kids had masks around their necks, but we were always met outside, and we always made sure that nobody had COVID and all that good stuff. And we kind of all followed similar lesson plans on our own at home, or at least did like the same unit. It was a lot of fun. It was challenging, but fun. I know Nora and I did like apple stamping, and we talked about the life cycle of bees and apples and all that kind of stuff. So here is the finished page. I do love the way this one turned out. I think there's enough color and there's enough white space, and it looks very cohesive. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the fourth spread. There's 5 in this video, so it is a long one. Thank you for enduring and listening to my squeaky voice while I do the voiceover for this. This is really simple, very, very quickly came together. I wanted to just keep it very neutral with the black and white buffalo check paper because of all the buffalo check in the photo on the bottom right of Norah. Well, it will be in the bottom right, but right now it's on the screen to the left of Norah with Jeeves. So these 3 photos are her with Jeeves at different points in the fall. So the first one on the left is from September, and then the one I'm trimming right now is from October, and then the one with the 2 buffalo check patterns is from December, or November rather. And I actually kind of love that they're from different months and it's obvious in the photos because of the blankets, because I always change our decor and our throw blankets. So, you know, the October one has like the leaf pattern blanket, and the November one I've already obviously decorated for Christmas, so I have my Christmas decor out. And then in the one of her in bed with Jeeves, she's wearing a tank top. And you can see, well, on our bed, she's in my bed, and we have like the lighter sheets over the duvet cover. So I know that it's still summer. So that's kind of a fun little like inside fact about the photos. And I didn't do any journaling at all. I just decorated the photos. So this one was super, super fast. I think it took me like 30 minutes in real time. So I'm just going to do the same thing I've been doing, is mounting the photos with, or backing the photos, whatever you want to call it, with that pattern paper. And then this super old sticker set from Jen Hadfield is what I'm using to decorate. And then this is another older one, but it's not from the same collection, but it has some cats, like puffy cat stickers. I'm using one right now. So I wanted to include those, even though they're not a black cat or a tuxedo cat, which is fine. But the fact that they're just cats makes sense. And then this old Thickers chipboard sheet has the same silver foiling, so I want to use that as well. And I thought I was just going to stick to like pink and silver, but then I decided to also pull some of that mustard yellow because it is an unexpected but pretty pop of color, and also because the cat on the left already has that same sort of yellowish shade, so I didn't feel like I was adding too much, you know, because each of the photos is so different in coloring. So I really tried to make these look as cohesive as possible just based on the embellishments. So I'm going to use these chipboard stickers to spell out hello, and then create a banner on the top right. And they're so old I have to use my tacky glue to add some extra adhesive. Which, you know, it's fine. I don't mind. I'm so glad to be able to use my stash because I have so much stuff. It's ridiculous. Back when I first started like making a craft room and all of that, which was actually right about now during the pandemic, I just went crazy buying everything scrapbook related or like thickers and trying to just get all the things anytime there was clearance or a sale. So I have so much stuff that I need to use. So I'm just going to stick with the color scheme of that like yellowish, and then the light pink, and then the silver, and just keep it really, really simple. Then I remembered I had these shaker stickers I grabbed at Joann actually not that long ago that were in a clearance for like 25 cents. And they actually coordinate with this collection too. So I put that little kitty cat with the little sequins in it. And that is it for this one. So super, super quick. There's going to be one more that I'm going to talk you through, and that will wrap up the video for today. So you'll have to come back in a couple of weeks for part 6, which will complete this entire Storyline Chapters album. So I'm doing the same thing. I already printed out this grid photo using the app Diptych, and then that's where I created the collage, and then I just printed it on the Print to Size app on photo mat paper. That's what I use, is photo mat paper. I think it's linked in my Amazon storefront. And then I found this star pattern paper from one of the Ali Edwards story kits I've had. And then I'm just going to pull in a whole bunch of stuff. So the first thing I know I'm going to do is adhere this giant photo grid to the right. And it doesn't quite make it all the way over to the edge, which is totally fine because I'm going to use some pom-pom trim just for fun. I love adding trims on the edges of the pages because when it's like the album is all closed, you can see all the little trim and detail sticking out. And I really love that little like peekaboo feature. It's just a nice little finishing touch. And then on top of the star pattern paper, I'm going to loosely adhere this larger photo, selfie of the three of us on a hayride. And, you know, obviously we're still in fall. I'm still documenting fall fun. I have a lot less photos for December because it's like COVID and, you know, winter. So here in upstate New York. So fall is when we do all the outside things and all the, you know, fall bucket list things, which is why there's just more content, more photos and stuff like that to document. So anyway, I'm just going to play around again with like my embellishments. There are a variety of items from various Ali Edwards previous kits and add-ons and who knows what. I'm going to trim down this little tag. I loved the florals, but it feels like almost a transition to fall paper because it's got like apples on it. So, and I like that it has greens as well because there's a lot of green in the photos, obviously, because we're outside. So I'm going to use this 4x6 card that's tucked behind the selfie photo on the left to do the journaling, which I'll read to you while you watch me like try to figure out where to put all these different die cut pieces. I just wrote the date, which was October 23rd. We love fall fun in New York. This year, we gave Elms Family Farm a try. It was a blast. We rode the cow train, walked through a corn maze, and you didn't want to get off the zip line. You found a huge long slide you went down to. We had tons of fun. And so that's the journaling just tucked behind the photo. And then you can see I'm creating a very tiny tag cluster that's going to live on the top of the photo here. And I had to use this die cut because it's got the quote, don't you love New York in the fall? It makes me want to buy school supplies. And that's from You've Got Mail. So it's one of my favorite movies too. So I wanted to include that. And it obviously coordinated with this perfect like goldenrod yellow color that I have with all these die cuts, which ironically are not all from the same story kit, I don't think. But anyway, they all match perfectly. And then on the tag underneath that I had trimmed down, I just wrote, we loved the hayride. It took us all around the property. You got to do a scavenger hunt from the truck. Added COVID bonus. So one of the things they had kids do when you got there, if you wanted to ride on the hayride, is they had like these printed out scavenger hunt checklist things so that the kiddos could have something fun to look at while we rode the hayride. So I thought that was really cool. Plus, this farm turns into a Christmas tree farm. So we got to like drive by the Christmas trees, and you can kind of see them actually in the photo grid on the right. You can see behind Nora and I in the cow train ride thingy majiggy, some little pine trees back there. So you can go and like cut your own, which is something I've never done. And honestly, I have no desire to do. Don't judge me. But yeah, it's really cute. And so those are just photos from throughout the day. I can't believe how little her face is. Oh my gosh. So I chose to use the yellow tag and a corner rounder so that I could layer this plastic piece on top and put the title that says Fall Fun, and then I put Fresh Air. So I used some really old black alpha stickers right here from Paper Person Shop. And then the puffy alpha stickers that are really small are from Heidi Swap. Those are like 4 or 5 years old. That's why I don't link anything in my videos, by the way, my scrappy videos, because a lot of the products are just so old. It would take me forever to find them. But if you have ever like a specific question or want to know where I got something or what it's called, please feel free to leave a comment below, or you can DM me on Instagram and I will do my best to get you that information. But yeah, I decided to use the Puffy Alphas to embellish all the die cut pieces. So just to bring in some more of the alphas and some more black. So I put Fresh Air on that one, and then I put Joy on the bubble die cut that says, do I love you? My God, if your love were a grain of sand, mine would be a universe of beaches. And that's from The Princess Bride, which is a movie Matt and I love. So I put that in front of Matt and Nora on the cow ride. And then on the burst die cut of Nora, like Nora's back going down the zip line, I spelled we. And then I just spelled us on the little miniature cluster that I created on the left side of the spread. And then The only other final things that I added were some puffy stickers that I had from Paper Person Shop as well. So some pumpkins and some corn and some mushrooms and some little fall tree. It was just the perfect little touch that I needed to finish the spread. So here it is, all finished in real time, and then I'll flip through all the pages I've completed in this video. Okay, friends, so here we are back at the beginning of September when we started homeschooling. Some photos from around our house. Oh, wow. The memories are crazy to think about. 2020 was just a wild ride. I would love to know what you were doing during that year. All right, friends, that's it for this part. I will see you in a couple of weeks for part 6. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video if you did, subscribe if you're not, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Take care of yourself, sweet friends, and remember that you are enough. Bye.